It was a moment no one expected, yet everyone is talking about. When Representative Jasmine Crockett stepped up and delivered a sharp, unflinching, and passionate response to Senator JD Vance, she didn't just make headlines. She made history. What unfolded in that heated exchange sent ripples across the nation, stirring reactions from coast to coast. And it wasn't just the content of her response. It was the poise, the clarity, and the undeniable power behind her words. To understand why this moment has become a national flashpoint, we need to take a step back. Tensions have been mounting in Washington as both parties battle over the future direction of America. Economic policy, social justice, and the ever-present questions around race, equity, and representation have created a powder keg environment. And in the middle of that pressure cooker, JD Vance made a statement during a committee hearing that would spark a firestorm. Senator Vance, who has become increasingly outspoken on issues of crime, policing, and what he calls cultural decay, questioned the priorities of progressive lawmakers. He insinuated that representatives like Jasmine Crockett were more interested in identity politics and what he termed performative activism than in real legislative solutions. He claimed the left was prioritizing slogans over substance, and he directly accused Crockett of using emotional appeals to distract from policy failures. The room was silent for a moment after he finished speaking, the air thick with tension. All eyes turned to Jasmine Crockett, a freshman Democratic Congresswoman from Texas known for her legal acumen, her fierce advocacy for underrepresented communities, and her ability to stay composed under pressure. No one knew exactly what was coming, but what came next would leave a permanent mark on the discourse in Washington. With a calm and steady voice, Crockett began by dismantling Vance's argument point by point. She did not raise her voice. She did not resort to name-calling. Instead, she invoked facts. She talked about her years as a public defender, working on the front lines of the criminal justice system. She described in detail the real lives impacted by the policies Vance was defending, and she questioned the sincerity of someone who claimed to speak for the forgotten middle class while consistently voting against healthcare expansion, education funding, and labor protections. Then came the moment that turned a sharp political exchange into a viral sensation. Crockett paused, looked directly at Vance, and said with a piercing intensity, "If you think standing up for people who've been silenced, who've been overlooked, and who've been brutalized by a broken system is performative, then you've never listened to them. You've only talked over them." The room froze. That single sentence carried the weight of generations, the force of truth, and it cracked through the usual political noise with the clarity of a bell. In that instant, something shifted, because Crockett wasn't just defending herself. She was speaking for millions. Her words have since been quoted in op-eds, shared in classrooms, and even printed on protest signs, because at the heart of her message was a universal truth. In the days that followed, Crockett was interviewed by several major news networks. When asked about the moment, she stayed humble. She said she didn't plan on making a viral moment. She simply spoke from the heart. She explained that growing up in Texas as a black woman and later becoming an attorney, she learned early on that the world doesn't always listen unless you speak with precision and purpose. She credited the community she serves for giving her the strength to stand tall, and she dedicated her words to the people who've never had the mic. Meanwhile, JD Vance doubled down in several interviews, defending his remarks and claiming he was misunderstood. But the more he spoke, the clearer the contrast became. On one side, a senator trying to hold the moral high ground without the moral foundation. On the other, a congresswoman who didn't just speak her truth, she embodied it. Crockett's viral response sparked a larger conversation about how women of color in Congress are often subjected to double standards. Many noted that when male politicians raise their voices, they're seen as passionate. But when women like Crockett speak with conviction, they're labeled as aggressive. Her supporters pushed back hard against that narrative, saying it's time for America to recognize strength in all its forms. The moment also reinvigorated conversations about generational change in politics. Younger lawmakers are increasingly rejecting the old rules of decorum that often silence dissent in favor of polite stagnation. Crockett's response wasn't just about JD Vance. It was about an entire system that too often values comfort over truth. For many Americans watching at home, this exchange felt personal. It reminded them of the boardrooms, classrooms, and institutions where they've been spoken over, underestimated, or ignored. Crockett's words gave voice to that silent frustration. And in doing so, she helped redefine what it means to lead. In the aftermath, support for Crockett surged. Petitions calling for her to be given more prominent roles in congressional leadership began circulating. Grassroots donors flooded her campaign with contributions, many accompanied by messages of gratitude, not for political strategy, but for honesty, for authenticity. JD Vance, meanwhile, faced renewed scrutiny over his past statements and policy positions. Critics resurfaced previous comments he made during his campaign and questioned whether his current rhetoric aligned with the populist values he claims to champion. Some wondered whether the confrontation with Crockett had revealed more about him than he intended. In the halls of power, the exchange echoed. Members of Congress were reportedly divided. Some praised Crockett's bravery. Others privately expressed concern over how the confrontation might deepen partisan divides, but no one could deny that something significant had occurred. A cultural shift. A rebalancing of the narrative. Back home in her district, Crockett returned to her constituents with renewed determination. In town halls and community meetings, she emphasized the importance of civic engagement, of using your voice, of standing firm in your values. She told young people that they don't have to wait for permission to lead. That courage isn't about never being afraid, it's about speaking anyway. Her words continue to ripple outward, into communities, into classrooms, into conversations happening around dinner tables and on street corners. Because what Jasmine Crockett showed America isn't just how to win an argument. She showed us how to stand up, how to speak with purpose, and how to lead with heart. As for JD Vance, only time will tell how this moment shapes his political future. But for Jasmine Crockett, the message is clear. She's not just part of the conversation, she's helping change it. Thank you for watching Intel Insider, where we bring you the voices and moments that shape the nation. If you found this story powerful, thought-provoking, or just worth sharing, be sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and tap the notification bell so you're always in the loop. We've got more in-depth political stories, real-time reactions, and the truths that matter most coming your way. Until next time, stay informed, stay engaged, and stay true.